Hi, welcome to the CrafteeManatee. Today I'm going to be showing you my plan for my 2026 temperature scarf. I've decided that for 2026, I want to try to make a crochet temperature scarf. I have seen a lot of people make temperature blankets, and I have seen a couple of temperature scarves, and I thought that that would be a much more achievable mission for me instead of making an entire blanket. It just seems like a much easier task to tackle, and if I get too behind on the scarf, they are shorter rows to catch up on. So in this video, I'm going to show you the pattern that I'm going to use for my temperature scarf. I will work a little sample with you, and I'm also going to show you different charts that you can use to create your own temperature scarf. So let's go ahead and get started with today's video. But before we do get started, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more crochet patterns and tutorials, and share this video with a friend who you think would enjoy crocheting along with a 2026 temperature scarf. As you can see right here, I have a sample of all of the daily high temperatures that I'm going to be basing off of, and the corresponding yarn that will match up with that temperature. So essentially, I'm going to be looking at the high temperature of every day and matching that with a corresponding yarn color. I decided to go with the daily high instead of the daily average. I just wanted that to be my representation for my scarf, but you could also go with a daily low or an average temperature for the day if you would prefer. I'm also going to go ahead and pop up on the screen right here some other options for your temperature chart if you don't have temperatures that are similar to mine. So I did work up several different temperature charts that you can base it off of. I'm using the moderately hot temperature chart, but you can use any that correspond with your daily averages or daily highs, whatever you are choosing. I wanted this to be a wide range, so I've chosen 11 different colors because I want it to be just changing colors all the time instead of having just big blocks of color throughout my scarf. So hopefully we get a lot of variation throughout the year in temperature, but you can pick the color chart that works best for your climate, depending on if you live in a warm region or a cold region. And I did just look up different places in the world that range in temperature. So I did my best, but make sure to look at your averages for year to year in your area to make sure that the color chart that you choose is going to be a good representation of your temperature where you are at. Here is a sample that I made in the stitch that I will be using for the scarf. I'm going to be using a linen stitch, which makes a very flexible, breathable fabric. There are a lot of small holes throughout, but it also does make a pretty dense fabric at the same time. So I do love this stitch. I think it's going to blend the different colors together very nicely, and I will show you how to work this in just a moment. I am using fingering weight yarn. It is this Lindy Chain fingering weight yarn by Knit Picks and We Crochet. So if you are interested in using the same yarn, I will link it down below, and I will link all of the different colors that I use for my color chart here. But you can also just pick any colors that you want in fingering weight yarn, or you can even change to a different weight, like a worsted weight, but you will have to take into account that it will make your scarf longer and wider depending on how you do it. So based on this sample, if I were to multiply it out based off of the 365 days in a year, I'm going to end up with a scarf that is just under 50 inches long, which is a little short as far as scarves go, but I'm also going to add tassels onto the end, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't getting too long. So I am happy with this length that it's going to end up being. Hopefully it all works out in the end. We all have probably seen those temperature blankets that end up being crazy, crazy long. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But if it does, it's a scarf, and if it ends up too long, it'll just be an oversized scarf. And if it ends up too short, it will just be a little scarf that I can sew together to make a cowl or an infinity scarf or something like that. But based off of my gauge in my swatch, we're looking at about 50 inches, which is great for a scarf, and I'll add the tassels on at the end and it will be perfect. So for my sample there and what I'm going to be working for my real temperature scarf once January comes, because I am filming this before I get started on my actual scarf, we are going to go ahead and chain 50 stitches. You can easily change the number of stitches that you chain to change the width of the scarf, but if you are going to be working the linen stitch, make sure you chain an even number of stitches. So I'm going to go ahead and chain 50. And I will meet you back here after we have this chain complete to move on to row 1. Now for my first row, I'm going to stay in the same color that I chained with. So once I start my real temperature scarf, this is going to be the daily high of whatever temperature January 1st is. So it is probably going to be one of these colder temperatures. Maybe it even will be this purple. I don't know yet. But I'm going to go ahead and single crochet in the second chain from my hook. So skipping that first chain. And then I'm going to chain 1, skip 1 chain, and single crochet in the next stitch here. So I'm going to continue doing that, chaining 1, skipping 1, single crocheting in the next one. And I'm going to continue that all the way until the end of my chain, and that is going to leave us with 49 stitches. And then I'll meet you back here once we're done with this to move on to row 2, which is going to be our repeat for the entire scarf. Once we reach the end of that chain, we are going to go ahead and change color. So of course you will have to wait until the next day to do this so you know what the high of the day was. But we're going to go ahead and just choose this pink yarn and attach it. This is easy to see on camera, so I'm going to go ahead and just use this one. And I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work. And now for this next row, this is the repeat that we are going to do for all 365 days of the year. We are going to single crochet in the first chain space of the previous row, and we're going to make a chain and skip 1 stitch, and then single crochet in the next chain space. So we are single crocheting in the chain spaces, chaining 1, skipping 1, and single crocheting in the next chain space. So I'm going to continue doing this all the way across this row, and I will meet you at the end because the ending stitch is just a little bit different. We're going to be single crocheting into the turning chain instead of the last stitch. But I will meet you back here once we get to the end to show you what I mean. Here I am at the end of our row 2, and as you can see, I've ended in the final chain space, and I'm going to just chain 1 again and single crochet in the turning chain. So in this case, it's going to be the chain space from our first row. That is the skipped stitch at the beginning. So remember how we single crocheted into the second stitch from our hook, making that foundation chain. This is going to be that chain that we skipped. So this is going to just keep our stitch count at 49 stitches. So feel free to count along the way. At least every few rows, make sure you count through 1, just so you know that you're staying at 49 stitches. But that is it for our temperature scarf pattern. So as you continue working, of course it will start looking more like this, except in endless different colorways. I can't wait to see everybody's finished temperature scarf because it's going to be different no matter where you live, and it's also going to be different based off of which type of temperature scarf you are working. If it is in the extremely hot temperature, it's going to be totally different than in the extremely cold. So I'm very excited to see what everyone's temperature scarves look like. I am also planning to write up a free pattern over on Rippler. That is going to be a great place to show off your finished temperature scarves or your project pages along the way. We can all kind of see it together in project pages added to the Rippler pattern. So make sure you go over there. I'll link it down below so that we can see how everybody's temperature scarves are progressing. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed learning my plans for my temperature scarf this year, and I hope you decide to make your own and join in this crochet along throughout the year. It's never too late to join because you can always backdate, look at the historical record online for your temperatures in your region, so it's really never too late in the year to start your temperature scarf. Thanks for watching. Bye.